Hey, pretty girl. Hey, Helen. What's up, girly? Hey, guys. Welcome back to Roots Refuge Farm. It is a extremely beautiful day after the weather tried to kill us a week ago. It's been cute now. And right now, I know that like the Midwest is experiencing a ton of storms because there's a warm front over here in the east and there's a cold front over in the west, and they're kind of clashing there in the middle. But we're experiencing the warm front and we're just having beautiful 70 degree Fahrenheit, 27 Celsius days that are just lovely. And you don't always shake out that you get the lovely weather, but this time we did, and I'm glad for that. Hey, chickens. Hey. This is interesting. I told you guys this is what happens a lot. These are some root vegetables. These are some turnips here. The root's still pretty small, but the leaves died back with that frost. But look, there's nice fresh leaves coming up. This is why I said don't be quick to tear anything out that you think that the winter has killed, because sometimes things will recover. And I think that's going to be the case with a lot of that stuff. Definitely had some dieback on the rhubarb, but it's coming back up. And then here is chamomile, which we covered with the mulch, and it's just fine. And this will be interesting to watch because a lot of these perennials, I mean, it looks like there's just next to nothing planted here, but a lot of these things will start creeping back up with fresh growth, and of course they might get knocked back again because it'll freeze again this winter. We're still at the beginning of the winter. So here's the chicken yard where we moved these chickens into this old garden space probably about 6 weeks ago. And I would say that they have thoroughly done their job here and gotten it fully cleared out. So we'll move them out of here pretty soon. I mean, we don't have any great grassy areas to put them, but we'll get them out of here so it can rest and get ready for spring planting. There's the wind. All right, so here is the garden space that Will reset this last week. I posted a video where he shot footage, kind of like a time lapse of showing that reset, which is very satisfying. Oh, hello, sir. Would you like some attention? Yes, you're a very good rooster. You're doing a great job. Thank you so much for your input. Yep. But yeah, this is awesome. And this is just gonna kind of rest under these tarps. Haven't decided yet what I'm gonna put here yet, but with this prepared, and then this is, for the most part prepared, we'll move the chickens off of here and probably kind of rake up in here and maybe add some more compost in, and maybe throw some mulch down to kind of hold this and keep weeds from growing. But then these spaces will all be ready. Alright guys, got one of my oranges. Got a tangelo from my tree. We're actually deciding how we want to use this high tunnel because I'm just not crazy about the way that we've had it set up with the citrus in the beds and all that stuff. And I had mentioned this before. I made a salad with one of my other oranges. And then I took the rind and I put it in a mason jar and covered it in vinegar just to make like a cleaning vinegar. And I'm gonna save this rind also, just because, when you grow something, you want to use every part of it. And maybe we should be thinking like that anyway. This has so much oil in the rind. It's like running down my hand. It's wild. Let's see. It's like shooting out. Did y'all see that? It's pretty cool. I've got one more ripe one that I'll probably make something with, but I just want to try this and see how it is. I think it's a little damaged from having frozen, but it's so good. It's pretty sour. It's a tangelo, so I mean they are kind of sour, but I can't believe we can grow citrus. It's so cool. I just thoroughly enjoyed that orange. I saved half of it. I'm going to give it to Will. And I'm going to take this rind in and put it in with my other orange rind. If you're ever peeling citrus, I mean, obviously, that being so fresh, the fresher it is, the more oils it's going to have in the rind. The older it is, it's going to be a little more dried out. But you can put citrus rinds from whatever citrus and put them in vinegar and let it sit for like 2 to 3 weeks. I usually do like a fermenting lid on it just in case it does have any sort of fermentation that happens. And then take that like 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, and dilute it with some water and use it for cleaning. Makes a good cleaner. So this has just been in here a case of trimming everything back and cutting down what was mush. The sprouts ended up getting some damage, but they're still making Brussels sprouts, so that's good. Thankfully, all the younger brassicas survived, and we have quite a few younger brassicas, so that's good. We still have a lot of food in here. I'm really wanting to, like I said, reconfigure this. I think we're going to move some of the citrus into pots, and then also that way in the future, if we are going to have another really heavy freeze like we had, which this was unusual, but you know, if it becomes a normal thing, I want to be able to move my citrus into my glass greenhouse and maybe protect it a little bit more than it can be protected in here. Of course, we're using the warm winter time to grow in the high tunnels, but also to reset them, reconfigure them. And then down here in the raised bed garden, kind of just waiting to see what comes back. That was knocked back in the freeze, because I had a lot of stuff like all these. This is all collards and stuff, and some of them look pretty far gone, but I'm guessing they'll come back. Some of them, like this is a little dino kale, and look at that, that's a little fresh leaf that's coming up. So many things will look dead, but if their roots were mulched especially, you'll get growth again. So it's just sort of waiting to see. One project that's been on hold has been the greenhouse, just because we didn't need it. But this is getting pretty high on the priority list. Maya's been steadily working to finish the kids' treehouse, fort, playhouse. And the weather kind of paused that. So that's his priority right now. And we've got a few weeks before we really need to use this. But this will be, I guess, really the next big garden project, other than the stuff that like Will and I are working on, which is not the construction stuff. Where, you know, we work on the soil stuff and the planting stuff and the harvesting and pruning and all of that. And then Maya usually comes in and does the construction. So look, happy birthday, little guy. That's Alyssum. Hey, sweet Maya, you startled me. I didn't know you were there.
I'm practicing.
You were practicing what?
To be one of those like statue people.
Oh my goodness. You're gonna be a garden statue?
You have to give me a tip.
Oh, like the performers, the street performers?
Yeah, it was kind of fascinating.
I've been just surveying how everything made it through the freeze and is starting to pop back up so quickly now that it's been warm for like 3 days.
Unless it freezes again.
Oh, sure, it'll get knocked back again. But you want to step into the greenhouse with me? I was just talking about that being kind of getting to the top of the priority list.
Sure.
Maya surprised me while I was in the middle of talking about him. You have like a sensor going off? Oh, she's talking about the projects I'm going to do. I better go make sure I don't get overcommitted.
I think I probably turned that off.
For your peace of mind, it's like the check engine light that's always on.
Me and you check engine light versus the world.
Alright, so the process here. Like, this is the next big garden project. That's what I was telling them. Like, Will and I do the projects that are like soil related and planting and harvesting and all of that. But when it comes to construction, that's where you come in.
In all aspects.
Yeah. So the last thing that was actually done in the greenhouse was our friends Kathy and Chad. So Kathy, you guys have met her multiple times. Call her my mother-in-law. It's actually my ex-mother-in-law, but we've been very close friends for 20 years now. So they came out, she and her husband came out and wanted to help us. And so they actually did all the wiring out here. Wired in the fountain, the fans, all of that stuff.
Yep.
And so the only thing that he has left to do as far as electric goes, because of their helping us, is he has to put the chandelier in.
I'm gonna paint all the wiring.
Oh yeah, you're gonna black it out. Yeah, that's awesome.
Big deal.
Yeah. And so that's your next step, is doing that.
Yeah.
And then you're going to start on shelving, I guess.
Then
I
water.
mean, there's really not that much that needs to be done. Water, okay. But you have the line ran out here.
Okay.
It's just stumped out.
Stumped out?
Is that what?
That's it. That's the term. That's what it's going to be called from now on. All you plumbers out there, change it. Stumped out. Stumped out. It's okay. You're not a plumber. I don't expect you. There's plenty of plumbers out there calling things tomatoes and stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty excited.
You should
This
be.
warm weather's got me itching to start seeds.
Well, you'll have plenty of space in just a short time.
Yes.
But haven't you already started seeds?
I mean, we've planted stuff in the ground.
Oh, you haven't started any seed starts or anything?
No, I don't really have a place to do it where I can actually keep them safe. I gave that, but last year I bought one of those little plastic greenhouses that I used to start seeds, like now when we didn't have this, and I actually gave that away, so
We'll get it done.
just waiting on this, but that's okay. It's not really time yet. I could feasibly start peppers and eggplants in like a week, 2 weeks.
I wonder how cold it got in here when it got really cold.
It was still fairly warm in here. I didn't have a,
Should have got a thermometer.
yeah, I didn't have something
So I
to
was trying to
check.
decide. That's still with shade cover on too. And
That's
I was
with
trying
shade.
to decide if we really needed to seal off the eaves, but I don't think we do because it hasn't gotten that cold.
We'll just have to watch it and see, because if it's gonna be
Well,
cold,
the
then we're
benefit of
gonna.
not sealing them off is that it vents a lot more heat in the summer and keeps the temperature down.
Is there a way that you could temporarily seal them? That you could put something up there that could come off?
It would be complicated, but I'm sure it could be done. And it stayed relatively regulated. It hasn't gotten too hot. And then I don't know how cold it got, but there'll be another freeze and I'll come out and check then. And
Yeah.
we'll see where we're at.
Yeah.
Planning.
This is me feeling concerned for thousands of tiny baby plants.
No, they'll never be in jeopardy.
So 1 year later, how do you feel about your greenhouse build?
Pretty solid. Need some minimal maintenance.
Yeah.
Seen some wood kind of coming out, but I mean most of it was nailed in, which is normal when it's got so much heat and cold.
Yeah.
Plastic changes. So we'll just throw some screws in and tighten it back down. It'll be alright.
I'm happy with the floor. This is decking that has gravel underneath it.
Composite decking,
Yeah, that's nice.
so it can't rot.
Somebody asked me the other day, why do you have a bathtub in there?
Well, because we want to take dirt baths.
That's not why. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with it yet, but it's going to be some sort of like focal piece. Either I'm going to put pots in it that have plants in it, or I'm going to store soil in there. I don't really know yet. But
Something cool.
my friend Miss Anita had an antique store here before she moved, and she gave it to me. And so I just thought it was really cool looking.
Pretty cool.
I've also been asked multiple times if I'm storing seeds out here, and I'm not. This is currently empty. It's just going to be for tools and stuff. You don't really want to store seeds in a greenhouse. You'd really like to keep your seeds somewhere cool and dry, and it is obviously very warm and often humid in here, so not the best ideal seed storage. But that's where I used to keep my seeds, and they're in different containers now. And so I just didn't have a place for that in the house, so it's out here. It looks good out here.
Put it to work.
And I've talked about, I don't know yet, I think we're just gonna get the shelves done and wait and see, but I've talked about putting a desk out here. Something that would be really cool to be able to.
I'm sure that's what we'll do. You'll need some place to sit and do all your long talking.
I love your view of what I do.
That's what you do.
I do.
Come out here and sit and talk for an hour.
That's true.
Really, you're talking to yourself.
No, I'm not. They're there.
Technically, at that moment in time, you're talking to future people. You're actually talking to yourself.
You'll come defend me right now, aren't you? My long talking.
If you ever have to go find another job, you better put in your job description. Very capable of talking to myself.
Oh my goodness. People do often wonder when they meet me in real life. They'll be like, are you feeling okay? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm actually just very shy and reserved at first.
It's alright.
You do get to experience the personality, like my personality that usually takes people a long time to like get.
Get to that, yeah.
Yeah, because like when I meet people, I'm usually way more reserved. Or when I'm getting to know people, I'm usually not like the life of the conversation. Jeremiah is actually way more personable and extroverted than he comes across in videos.
Yeah.
We're actually very opposite in real life as we are in videos, but it's just because the dynamic.
It's also fun just to throw people off.
Is that what it is?
It does. Every single time. If they haven't met us before, they're like, this is not what I expected. Gotta keep on your toes.
Yeah, because I'm just kind of shy and quiet. I like to observe a lot when I'm in new social situations. But when I'm talking to you guys with the camera, I mean, I'm relaxed because I am by myself in that moment, and I know your responses. The engagement is there, the relationship is there from the videos and the comments and all the years. It is like talking to an old friend because, I mean, truly, that's what it is. And so it's just kind of interesting. It's just an interesting dynamic. All right, well, this was a really scattered and weird video, but sort of just an update. I was walking out here and I was like, well, I'll grab my camera.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
Good.
that's what we do. Thank you guys for hanging out with us today. We bless you. Until next time.